Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, the walking, talking encyclopedia. Kundalini Yoga, Descent and Ascent of Kundalini. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is a reward of 60 years of integrated education. Impeccable wisdom is enlightening, and integrated knowledge is empowering. It is a repetition of what I have shown. What is Kundalini? As I have told you, Kundalini is called Atma, Antaratma, Prana, or Atman, and it is produced in the sun. It can also be called Aditi, and it is made of inert matter, helium-4. So let this be well known that Kundalini is not a material thing. It is a material. It is innate concept of inert matter called helium-4, which is produced in the sun, comes out of sun and becomes indwelling human soul or Kundalini or Antaratma. So let this be clear, it is helium-4. Now, that helium-4 which leaves sun travels all the way, and what descent is, what happens, let's understand from the ancient Indian wisdom. From my extensive study, I found something very interesting in the Aitreya Upanishads, first chapter, 3:12. After making an opening, Vidri, Dwar or Brahmandhara on top of the head, soul enters, and this particular entry is very blissful or pleasant. Almost every author or commentator of Aitreya Upanishads has put it this way, that Atma or soul enters from top of the head, but that's very specified. But going by my own experience and according to Akhand Vidyashram, the descent of Kundalini from sun comes to earth. The ideal time for Kundalini to enter the growing fetus after 22 weeks of pregnancy through anterior fontanel, which is called Brahmandhara-Vidri. Now the question comes up is, why 22 weeks of pregnancy? Because by 22 weeks of pregnancy, every organ is well formed. As a result, even abortion is not recommended after 22 weeks, because by this time everything is done. And you have next 18 weeks for full development to grow the child to the kind of anatomy, physiology and biochemistry is ideal for person's spiritual growth. And I do believe Kundalini modifies the genetic structure to design the ideal body so that he or she is able to make optimum use of the life with a perfect human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry and psychology, and do wonders in life for which human beings have been born with. So that way I have absolutely no doubt. Okay. Ideal time is 22 weeks, and I am convinced that it is the ideal time. Now, down I have shown that Kundalini, which is helium-4, 2 protons, 2 neutrons and 2 electrons, are shown exactly on top of the head of the growing fetus of 22 weeks. And skull, center of that, you can see on the right side, through which it enters. So graphically it's been shown this is how it is. But that's also interesting because 22 weeks basic structure is done. But Kundalini can get into human being anytime right up to 21 years of age. And that as a result of this, you find the sutures do not close till 21 years. That means it could enter at any time. If it does not enter in 22 weeks, it could enter any time up to 21 years of age. And incidentally, after 22 years of age, sutures start closing, and then it will be very, very difficult for the soul to enter. I do not believe that such possibility is required, but as far as indwelling soul or helium 4 is concerned, it is always before for almost everybody. So I'm sure it's very clear it enters through that. But one point which I would definitely like to put it across, soul can modify genetic structure to suit the body. Some people must be wondering, how can it modify chromosomes? Nature has given 22 plus pairs of chromosomes, not single. One is the one which becomes dormant, one is recessive. Now, Kundalini can, in my opinion, pick up the best components and make them functional. If that is what it is, then I think my life is a living example of that. But then Kundalini comes, grows the nervous system fully, and then finally sleeps in Muladhara Chakra, in the pelvic region or perineum, into ganglion impar. So this is how the descent of Kundalini comes from sun, through the atmosphere, through the top of the head, anterior fontanel, which called Brahmandhara or Talu, you call it Vidri, and it's going to be present because it's not closed. It doesn't have to do restriction, and then develop and finally go and sleep in Muladhara. Up to that an extent I've already spoken. Then I've also said there are 10 plus chakras inside which are connected with autonomic nervous system, endocrine system, and also associated with planets of the solar system or heavenly bodies of the solar system. That I have already explained. But Satchakra Nirupana talks of 7 chakras. And why Satchakra Nirupana is talking only 7 chakras, not 10 plus 1, let me explain in the ascent of Kundalini. Ascent of Kundalini means you have been, Kundalini after that is sleeping in Muladhara Chakra. You can see right at the bottom is Muladhara. Kundalini is sleeping there. From there it has to come up to Sahasrara Chakra at the top of the head. And that is what is called. So first is called external root. And external root can be easily achieved by anyone who is interested in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. A Ashtanga Yoga is ideal to take Kundalini from Muladhara Chakra to Sahasrara Chakra through the external route, and it's very, very simple. All you need to do is follow Yam, Niyam, Yogasanas, and then go to Pranayam. 4 stages of Pranayam, all breathing techniques are designed in such a way that Ida and Pingla become perfect, and you can breathe effortlessly, and by breathing effortlessly, number of oxygen you have taken, oxygenation of RBC hemoglobin can create a lot of biomagnetic energy, and more RBCs you have, more and more oxygen you have, more and oxygenation takes place, your biophysical body can increase many fold. Normally it is only 2 to 3 or 4 inches around the body for a common normal person who is not doing pranayam effectively. But anyone who knows how to do pranayam can make the aura around the body so strong and so wide that it becomes a conducive atmosphere for Kundalini to rise and slow pass through this particular around the body and come up to the head and give you an experience of Satchit Anand, you can call it, all the benefit what Patanjali is talking about, Chit Vritti Niro. Stop the fluctuation of the mind, you become a yogi. This Ashtanga Yoga prepares you for raising Kundalini from Muladhara to Sahasrara through the external route, but unfortunately, this ascension is temporary. And very moment you stop doing pranayam, aura comes down, and then Kundalini comes back to the bottom and Muladhara and sleeps there, or goes to the Swadhisthana when you wake up, or Navi, nothing more than that. But this is something which I have already explained. Now with the graphic, I'm just saying this is what happens. So I'm sure now people are able to understand descent from sun, helium-4, entry through the head, and then developing the nervous system fully, sleeping in Muladhar Chakra, the bottom part, and then rising to go to back to source, to Sahasrara, or maybe back moksha, through the temporary route or through pranayam itself. So that is first route of ascension is through external route. So I'm sure it's very, very clear. And I have done that, I have experienced that, so I'm able to explain that quite well. Okay. Second is internal route of Chakra Yoga. I have also experienced that in 1993. I've already spoken about it. Then when you can internalize, normally you have Panch-koshas which they talk about outside, but something when gets inside, your fluctuation of the mind is rest. Your indriya are at peace. At that particular stage, the awakening of Kundalini can lead to breaking of Brahma Granthi, then opening of Ida, Pingala and Sushmana. You could have experience of all the 10 plus chakras within the body with the help of internalization. This is again is a part of the external route, not completely, totally internalization. Because Ida, Pingala and Sushmana are physicalized structures within the body connected with 72,000 nadis and of course 10 plus chakras. But in external route of pranayam, you might be able to experience the 7 chakras which Satchakra Nirupana is talking about. But if you internalize within the body as the second part internal route of Chakra Yoga, I'm not talking of Antar Yoga. You could experience Ida, Pingala, Sushmana and 10 plus chakras as shown in this picture, which I experienced myself in 1990. This is based on my own experience. I have already explained. So let's go to Antar Yoga is the complete internalization of Kundalini. And this picture also I have shown in earlier within Sushmana Nadi, there is a beautiful description in Satchakra Nirupana itself, which says vertebral column could be called Sushmana Nadi, and within the Sushmana Nadi you have Vahani Nadi, which is subdural space between dura mater and pia mater, in which water flows or cerebrospinal fluid flows, and by bringing Kundalini into this particular thing, you could convert Ojas into Tejas, and then Ojas and Tejas can make you literally like a very powerful, strong like a Vajra, like mace of Hanuman. That's why Brahmacharya has been given a lot of importance. It gives you the power of testosterone, which is Ojas, to be converted into estrogen or Tejas for intellectual purpose. Person who has experienced Vahani Nadi, that person will be physically very strong, like a Vajra, diamond, and also very intelligent, like Hanuman. So he is an ideal example of Brahmachar, and I cannot find any equivalent otherwise. But of course, another person who could be equally quoted for Brahmachar master is Ganesha, who has the intelligence par excellence. Now, Sushmana Nadi, Vani Nadi. Then within the Vani Nadi, you have Surya Nadi, which are ascending and descending tracts. That means that Kundalini can activate these backside chakras to go up and come down through the front chakras of Surya Nadi. Easy, that flow can be that. Within the Surya Nadi, the white matter is the grey matter. You can see in second picture right at the bottom, and these grey matter function at segmental level in spinal cord to intersegmental to suprasegmental. As a result, it can make all the 10 chakras very powerful. But once you experience that, you will also find actually there are 108 centers within the body. And now from endocrine system, autonomic glands, you come to the organ systems. And different organ systems which controlled by the gray matter, you can experience all the 108 chakras. Once that integration takes place and your body becomes perfectly integrated, then it can go to the Brahmanadi, and from there it can rise to ventricles of the brain, which I call Vaikunt, and thereby from inside you can integrate every part, all the 100 trillion cells and all the 100 billion neuron cells. And as a person, literally the person, a Jivatma, becomes a living, walking, talking encyclopedia because he's got all the experience, all the knowledge within that. And all this is from my own experience and with the scientific evidence which I'm able to give it. It's, as I written in the beginning, it's 60 years of my own journey. Now, final ascension has to be through Antar Yoga. See, like Patanjali talks the Ashtanga Yoga, and right up to the external route, you can experience Kundalini's ascension through external route with the help of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Ninth step of Akhand Yoga is Chakra Yoga, Art Kundalini Yoga. With that internalization, you can experience all the 10 plus chakras. As a result, you could be perfectly physically healthy, emotionally stable, mentally powerful, and absolutely free from all the diseases, all the constraints and restraints. And I can say moksha is nothing but freedom from all the constraints of day-to-day existential life. And that gives it with Chakra Yoga itself. But very moment you get to the last one, Antar Yoga, internalization of Kundalini within the central canal, Brahmanadi and Vaikunt, you are literally integrated the whole. Only then when this particular Jivatma or the physicalized body is totally perfect, then such a person will be able to be in tune with universal consciousness much, much better. But up to Antar Yoga, person can easily understand all the aspects of the human body. The human body, you can say, can be a bunch of atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, cells, tissues, organs, organ system, and organism. Human being as a microcosmic macrocosmic universe, you can experience all that with Akhand Yoga's 10 stages itself. But to go further, you need something more. And that is where descent of Mahashakti comes to play a role. When descent of Mahashakti comes to play a role, it can give you a new vehicle to travel beyond solar system and right up to the spiral galaxy, and then you understand this is it. So, Antaratma or Kundalini can give you awareness of only physicalized structure within the body and give you all the experience. Beyond that, you need another soul coming in. If you are lucky enough to have the descent of neon within, you will be able to understand the real beauty of solar system, spiral galaxy. At the same time, you will be able to understand neon 20, 21, 22 and its relationship with Gayatri. As I've told you, indwelling soul is Aditi. Neon, the descent of Mahashakti or Mahakundalini is, you can call it Gayatri with the 10 arms. That means it is neon because your 10 arms represent 10 electrons or 10 protons of neon. But if you are lucky enough, after experiencing Kundalini, Mahakundalini, you can go to the next stage when you can experience Adi Parashakti. With the Adi Parashakti, you will have an access to even beyond the spiral galaxy to the greater universe. If you're lucky enough to have that vehicle of organ 40, you'll be able to go beyond any other person who would have ever done. And that has been another blessing for me, that I've been able to talk of the perfect human anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology one side, I am also able to correlate this as a microcosmic representing the macrocosmic universe of solar system and their planets, and also spiral galaxy, Brahmand, a universe, and show in spiral galaxy also there are only 10 centers and there are 10 suns. But I have also gone beyond to the higher level, which we'll be talking much more at a later date. But let's first focus ourselves to a level which almost every common human being can easily understand, comprehend, and give the theoretical knowledge so they can start working on Akhand Yoga, particularly all the 5 virtues of Yam, all the 5 disciplines of Niyams, and all the 108 yogasanas with which you can make the physical body very strong so that you can sit comfortably in meditation to do contemplation to find everything comfortably. Then you should be in a position to go to the 4th stage of pranayama where your breathing becomes effortless. At the same time, it can increase the aura, and that increased aura you can even feel mosquitoes will not be able to enter. No one will be able to touch you. The power is so much. People might raise their hands, but they will not be able to touch. That's the beauty of pranayama. And pratyahara, to go inside for yoga, you got to withdraw your consciousness from external world. That means pratyahara, withdraw the senses from the external world. Then go into dharana stage, mean you should be in a position to sit comfortably, create a shield around the consciousness, and that is dharana. Then not concentration for a short time. But then go to dhyana stage, then you concentrate, pinpointed concentration on any subject and object, if you can do for hours together and get the best out of it, and that is dhyana. Then samadhi is to let go. When you let go of the samadhi, and that is a stage which lets you have kundalini raising from this down. And Patanjali himself says, only after that prajna comes, the knowledge comes, experience comes. That is a sprout start only after that. Only after that the kundalini will rise. Without that, kundalini cannot even rise to higher centers. So from that I am sure now proper theoretical knowledge of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology, and Akhand Yoga on the other side, and these practical things, you will be able to experience one with that, and then you will have all the secrets of the entire universe will be at your fingertips. Once you have that at your fingertips, you will have a perfect knowledge for everything, and that is what impeccable wisdom is. And since I've been able to do, I'm sharing that it is not copy of anything, my experience, but people will have to have the faith, work on that, and experience by themselves. Theoretical knowledge alone does not work. You have to take actions, and there are rules of the game to work. And I have been telling, and then let's do one by one more in detail. So from that, say thank you very much. It has been a pleasure sharing my experience with everybody. So let's look over to the next step. Thank you. Anyway, this particular picture is same thing. I'm sure everybody has seen it. We will talk about it as we proceed, but same what I've spoken is all presented here too. Okay, thank you very much.